today. So let's review the SQL problem. You can see I did it before class, but we'll see if I can do it live. Oh, hey all. I don't know if I was muted or not. So anyway, if I was muted, we can review this SQL LeetCode problem, and then I'm deploying another LeetCode problem in Python for you guys to start the class with, and then from there you can get back to the, the data analysis section. So this one, if you remember, it was basically find the customers who had the most number of orders, right? And let me try not to cheat. Okay. So just copy this part. So do select, just look at the data first, right? Select all from orders. All right, and the idea is we want those customers who had the most number of orders. Sometimes I like to just answer the question first. I think that's a good technique. So you can see it would be customer 1 and 3. Right, and then it's like, well, how did you do that? Well, we basically grouped by the number of by the customer ID or by the customer number in this case, right? Put them into groups and then figured out what was the highest grouping. So that tells me, okay, we can do group by the customer number, and what we should select is probably the customer number, and the count star. Right? And this will tell me the number of times that each customer appears, right? So now we're already pretty good. We'll do this as like the number of orders. So this is the customer number and the number of orders. Now, what we'll want to do is, I think, basically select from this kind of grouping again. I'm just writing this out as kind of like some notes. Select from the grouping, but where the number of orders is, or like equals, right, the max from here, the max of this whole thing. So if I was going to break this in steps, the first step for me would be like find the max, and then do this step, select from the grouping where the number of orders equals the max. So let's do that now. So find the max. So one thing we could do is just turn this into a subquery, right? Treat this as a table, and then say, okay, well, what's the max of this column, right? And that's kind of it. So let's do that. So select all from, and I always like doing that first. Just do select all from this thing, and then we can just tweak it and say select max number of orders from. Okay, and now we got it. This is 2. So what we can do is now plug this answer into the right side of the equation here. Okay. So this will be, this itself will be probably a subquery. I just want to make sure my parentheses are right, so I'll just do select all from, and I still get the right answer. Okay. And what we'll do is select all from orders, group by customer number, and this will be having num orders equal to this number 2. Okay, and then num orders I'm gonna have to define here, so it'll be num orders and maybe the customer number. Sorry, this has to be count star as number of orders. So just to go through this again, we are getting that number 2, right? This whole thing on the right just produced this max number of orders equals 2. And then on the left, we are grouping by the customer number, and then we're doing the same count star again. Okay? And this time we're saying select these as number of orders, group by that customer number. I just want to make sure I did it right. Group by that customer number. Having the number of orders equals this. Let's see if this works. Right, and this does work. Okay. There are other ways to do this. Obviously, like if you Google this problem, there's plenty of different ways to do this. Things that I want to point out is like when you're approaching these LeetCode problems, solve them in the easiest way possible. For the you will get chances to, resolve these, but like they're easy to kind of go down rabbit holes that all of a sudden it becomes way harder than you expect. So just solve it and do so in the easiest way possible. Don't try to optimize. I'm repeating myself. Is this, time efficient? It blah 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 blah. Just solve it. Okay? Then from there you can always refactor it and look for ways to improve it. But get it right first. So for me, you can see the different ways I'm repeating myself, right? This select customer number count star, group by the customer number. We're doing the exact same thing again here. Okay? So obviously I'm repeating myself. We'll get to ways to not do that with something called like a CTE later on. And there are other tips and tricks to solve this problem too. But like I bring that up because before class I was trying to solve the problem and I was like, it would be better if I did it this way, and I just wasn't getting it right until I was like, let's just do this step by step as easy as possible. And especially like if you're interviewing, like you're gonna feel a little more nervous or whatever. Just solve it as easy as possible. Let's see what the comments are. Yeah, so it does account. Yeah, so exactly like we have to. This is right. It counts for multiple customers having a tie for the max, right? One thing to point out. Notice I did have to use. Let's just back up a little bit. Just notice I did have to use a subquery here to find the maximum of the number of orders as 2. The reason why is because if you think about this part where I'm just doing select customer number count from orders grouped by customer number, you can't, what I would like to do is probably like just do a max of my count star, but you can't, that will break. We can't just directly do a max of a max. So you're kind of just doing a trick. You just turn this in, put in the parentheses, turn it into a subquery, then do select the max of this number of orders, right, from that. And that should just work. And now we got this part. So now we have the right part of the equation. And then it's just, it may feel, I think the biggest thing is just taking the left side of the equation slowly, because it is something you've already done, over here. And then just using the word having. That's it. Okay. This versus the order by and limit 1 for the initial query. Are you talking about for the max? Is that so?
That's first select customer count.
If you just said
order by num orders limit 1.
I think that works fine too. That's pretty.
Assuming we only know one value.
Exactly.
Then it should
Yeah,
be
that
okay.
works fine. Order by num orders limit 1. That also, and then you'll just do select count, and that will also give you back a scalar. So then you can also make this side of the equation right here. So that's fine. I think there was one more comment. Can we use having in the count query? Having in the are you talking about in this part? This one does have. This one does need having because you're doing select all from. Let's just do it again. If that was a question.
If we do select count from group by having count or max count.
Oh, having max count, but you can't do. I don't think you can do max count. That's where it will break.
So having
only takes
a
direct value, but no other function.
No, it can take another function. You just can't do.
Double aggregate.
Yeah, you can't do the double aggregate.
Inside of having.
Yeah, exactly. Like this is if you say this, like just the fact that you do max count, you can't do that anywhere in SQL. The only one that kind of cheats and does work is count distinct. Like that, right? That's like this. It's not a double aggregate, it's like a double function, but that works. But max count doesn't work, and that's why I have to go the subquery route or something similar to that. Okay. All right, so you could see just, if you had problems with this, try it again. Break it into steps. Solve this part first, right? Get the right side of the equation down, and then, get the left side of the equation down, where you're basically just doing another count star. Group by the customer number having, I have it down here. Select customer number count star, num orders as the number of orders, having the number of orders equal to this max, right? But I have to do the max count separately, from here. I'm doing that first aggregation count star, then take the max of that. I can share this, I'm happy to save this and send this out if you want to look at it. But like I said, also if you just Google this problem, you can just plug in, find the customer number, right, and put that into Google, and you'll find different approaches. This one does, but not all of them use subqueries, so this one is kind of on point for what we were covering. Okay, what's next? So I'll deploy, I think in breakout rooms, you can do this two-sum problem. If you've seen this before, it'll be easier, obviously. So if your partner finishes this in like 3 minutes, don't worry about it. I promise you, if you haven't seen it before, it takes a while. But at least if you haven't seen it before, at least spend like 20 minutes trying to solve it. Because that's